Hi everyone. In today's video, let us understand how can we learn Power BI. So to master any reporting tool, right, we need to understand what are the different parts in it and how can we approach them to become a master in that tool. These steps I'm explaining from the perspective of a beginner who just started learning Power BI. So before going through those steps, first let us understand what are different parts to learn in Power BI. First, we need to start with data sources, where we need to understand what are different types of data sources to which we need to connect. It can be flat files, SQL databases, or REST API in some cases, or SharePoint, or Databricks clusters, or different NoSQL databases. It can be anything. Then we have Power Query to transform our data that we fetched from the data sources. Then we might have to create DAX formulas to create ad hoc measures or calculated columns on the data set. This is the benefit of using Power BI, in which Power BI engine helps us to dynamically execute some formulas and give us our analytical output. Okay. Then we have reports, creating reports as an artifact and creating the interactive reports, which helps the user to get the insights from the underlying data. Then once a reports development part is completed, we have to publish those reports to the Power BI service for the collaboration and for end user consumption. Here we need to understand how to create different workspaces and how can we reuse existing data sets to create new reports, such functionalities. Then we have administration part, in which we need to provide the access to the end users, or either at which level they want it. Okay, so that kind of access information, and by changing the different properties on the reports, then we need to maintain like a schedule refresh. Everything comes under administration. Then we have the paginated reports, where we need to create a printable report, right? Then these we can create using Power BI report builder. Uh, then we have the dashboards part, where you can pin multiple visuals from different reports to create a single page report where executives can get the information. Then we have apps. We can create apps from the Power BI service, which is to package our content at one place. Even multiple reports we can package into one app. Then we have a deployment part. Once we create any reports or data sets, right, how we can deploy them from one environment to other. So at high level, these are different parts that we need to learn when we are start learning Power BI. Now let us see sequentially how can we approach these different parts. Okay. So if we restructure our entire components into a sequence, right? This is how it will look like. First, when you start learning Power BI, you should connect to a single data source. If you are comfortable with Excel, you can consume SQL data source as well. But if you are a newbie, or if you don't have any experience with SQL, then you can start working with CSV or Excel data source. It is easier to pull the data, and even you can get the sample data set from the Microsoft website itself, using which you can easily get started. Then once you have the data set, do some transformations like concatenating the columns, or putting some if else statements to derive a new column. Those kind of basic transformations you can do through Power Query interface. Don't go with the advanced Power Query language steps here. When you are starting, just do the whatever transformations available in the Power Query editor. Then just learn what are the basic error handling functions available, and how can we write simple if else statements and derive new calculated columns, and simple sum or max functions using DAX. Okay, then you will understand how you can utilize DAX. And you can understand the architecture of the DAX as well. So then you start with building the reports. You can use the out of box visual available like line chart, bar chart, scorecards. Those visuals will help you to understand how you can how you can use the data, and you can transform that into a graphical way. Okay, then you in this part you might have to spend some more time to understand what are bookmarks and slicers as well, because even a simple dashboard needs this for the user interactivity. Okay, then once this part is completed, then go to the Power BI service, publish this report to Power BI service, and create workspaces and manage the user access. And how can you set up the scheduled refresh? So those kind of items you must know. So once you reach this stage, right, you can say that you know at least basics on Power BI now, because you are able to do at least basic tasks in Power BI from all the components. Okay. Then once you are comfortable with this, practice this for 1 month or so. Then go to the next phase of learning. Now you need to explore what are different data sources available apart from what you are using in the first phase. Now you must learn SQL, because most of the times you will be interacting with the SQL data sources. If you are comfortable and if you are okay, you can you can learn complex SQL as well, which helps you to reduce your task of creating DAX or transformations in Power Query. Okay, then understand the REST API and other data sources as well. Once you are comfortable with this, now go to the data modeling part here. So before advancing to the complicated DAX, right, you must learn data modeling. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to understand few functions in the DAX. So start with understanding dimensional modeling. How can you create a fact table, or how can you segregate different dimensions, and how can you create a star schema. Then how can you handle many to many relationships, or understand the cardinality of the tables, and completely you must know how can you build the data model from the different sources you are connecting to. Okay, once you are comfortable with the data modeling, then go to the advanced DAX. Understand what are different types of context, row context, filter context, and how a context transition works. In addition to that, understand how a date table helps you in creating some functions in DAX, and time intelligence and dynamic measures means based on some slicer selections. How can you change the measure value? So do a deep dive into that kind of uh, formulas, which helps you to understand DAX in a good way. Okay, so once this part is also completed, then go to the advanced visualizations, where you can consume visuals, import visuals from Microsoft App Source. And if you are interested, and if you don't find your particular visual anywhere, right, then you can write your own custom visual, um, right, that also you can explore. So this is a advanced topic in the advanced visualizations. Then go to the deployment part. Here, once you understand the SQL and other multiple data sources, right, you need to configure parameters. How can you configure parameters, or how can you easily deploy, understand architecture from high level, and design all the artifacts in such a way that how can you deploy from development stage to the production environment. So you need to think from that perspective, understand the deployment pipelines, everything here. Okay. Once this is done, now since you understand all the components very well now, you can go to the dashboards and pin your visuals, and create as per your needs. Okay. Then comes the apps. Then these two you can practice even after learning this Power BI basics. There won't be any problem. But if you learn after these advanced concepts, right, you will be able to understand these very easily. Okay. Then comes the embedding reports. So there will be some instances where your end users might not be interacting with Power BI service directly. You have to embed your reports or visuals into your own web applications. So this is the part where you need to practice with that sample program which Microsoft Power BI gives, or else you need to understand two things: embed for your customers or embed for your own organization. Different approaches are there, those you need to explore, and how you need to authenticate from Microsoft Azure AD, service principles, everything will come under this embedding part. That you should be good at this stage. Then comes the CI/CD. Once you are good with these stages, think from continuous integration and continuous deployment. That perspective. That even if multiple people are working right from your team on different reports on the same report, how you can segregate the responsibilities and push your code to a single repository like Git. Then once it is done, once for every release you might have to deploy, or the deployment also should happen automatically. Okay, so either you can automate, there are some approaches either through PowerShell or deployment pipelines. Think from that perspective and understand how this CI/CD works. And in addition to thinking only from Power BI perspective, you need to consider other components in your BI system as well, like ETL or data source, DDL statements. How you can maintain your Power BI artifacts in sync with those respective components, so that in a release you won't break anything. Okay, so this is how you can learn Power BI from scratch to mastering it. This I'm mentioning based on my experience. If anything works for you, if you are already working in data domain, right, you can directly start with connecting to multiple data sources and data modeling, then go to basic DAX and advanced DAX. Okay, so based on your current stage, you can pick up these items and work accordingly. Yeah. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.